Yo, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone out there, YouTube land. This is Moz coming to you with another episode of Moz's Toy Box. Today is first appearance Friday, The Punisher, due to popular demand, aka Cigars and Bacon. What's up, Cigars and Bacon?
What's up? How's it going, everybody?
It's going, man. I want to give a shout out to Carlito, man, my newest member. Thank you for joining the membership program. I appreciate it. I'm still working on the desktop wallpapers, I promise you. But let's give him a huge welcome to the YouTube member family thing. I'm really stoked. I don't even know what to call it. Give a shout out to Doc Elector, Noble Young, who's also in the house, and Bob Dylan, and a few others. If you guys are watching right now, please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and consider the membership. And that's awesome. What's up, H Green? How you doing? But yeah. Look at Carlito. Look at that member. That's awesome. I'm getting goosebumps. So cute. I love it. I love it. I don't know what to say. I'm just stoked. I'm just happy. All right.
More to come, dude.
Yes, hopefully more to come. Yes. So, dude, you wanted the Punisher. We got the Punisher. The Punisher is what we got.
Yep.
The Punisher.
So, let's talk the Punisher. Where do you want to start with the Punisher?
Punisher first made his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man number 129, published in February of 1974, the year I was born. Little known fact. Not the month, though. And it made huge waves, dude. It was something that people were kind of like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but they went ahead and gave it some love anyway, man. Thank you so much, Carlito, again. Thank you.
Yep.
This is your baby, man. Let's let you give it a little love.
Punisher. Okay. When the Punisher first came out, like you said, there were people who weren't sure whether or not it was going to take, but it actually surprised Marvel because a lot of Marvel's mature comic readers actually fell in love with the Punisher and were actually impressed on the fact that Marvel was going this route with the type of character they had. Because when Punisher first was dropped, they basically had him as a homicidal vigilante. You know, that's what Punisher is known for. He doesn't deal justice like the other superheroes, where he lets them get arrested and put in jail or try to save them. Punisher's version of justice is, I'm going to put you 6 feet in the dirt so you don't hurt anybody anymore.
I'm sorry, my glasses got dirty.
And then you got, like I said, the first appearance, he was actually out to kill Spider-Man because he thought Spider-Man was a crook and a criminal. He was, because I believe
He wouldn't he
that
pointed that
run
way
was
by
he was,
Kingpin?
yeah, and he was actually, and it was to take away from, I think, the tarantula, because that was the one who was actually doing the crimes and framing Spider-Man for it.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't full honesty and disclosure here. I personally have not read a single Punisher book. I've watched the shows, love the shows. I've seen him, as a character in other stories that I've read, but I've never read an actual Punisher book. I know I'm bad. I can't read everything. I try, and right now I can't read anything because I got these new glasses that are hindering all kinds of reading that I'm trying to do. Um, so Punisher was though created by Jerry Conway with the help of author Don Pendleton's work, The Executioner, which the Punisher was based very heavily off of. The artist on board when Punisher came out was, of course, John Romita Sr. And Jerry Conway actually designed the general logo for the costume, but it was John Romita who made it the huge chest size logo that we know and love today, and that the world and the internet are trying to take away from us.
You got to give credit to Ross Andrew because he was also a part of the creation of Punisher.
Oh, hold on, did I miss Ross? I'm sorry, I can't read. I'm trying.
No,
Yeah,
it's fine.
well,
It's fine. I know you said
Similar,
your
yeah, Ross
glasses in your
Andrew.
eyes, so I got you. I got you.
Yeah, it was. I apologize, guys. I just am making the transition to bifocals in my glasses, and trying to read at this distance is it's a nightmare. It's just crazy. I'm old, but there you guys have it. So he first appears in Amazing Spider-Man 129. He was initially the antagonist for Spider-Man. Um, he was portrayed then as a bloodthirsty vigilante. He had no qualms about killing gangsters, and something that most superheroes refrain from doing. And actually, in the books, apparently J. Jonah Jameson described him as the most newsworthy thing to happen to New York since Boss Tweed. So, but the Punisher was determined to kill Spider-Man, who was wanted for the apparent murder of Norman Osborn. So that was what they were trying to get him for.
Yep, that's correct.
Just trying to leave you the ball a little bit. I don't want to rain.
Okay, well, I mean, from then he actually there shortly after that there was a brief stint where uh, after that I think that's when he faced Daredevil, was right after that, and then that's when we get the whole that's when basically we get Punisher to where it goes solo, and Punisher, that's when he gets his instead of Spider-Man being his villain, that's when we get Kingpin, who basically becomes the first true villain for Punisher.
Yeah, and actually his run on Daredevil is what really fleshed him out into something that some people at Marvel were like, we might be able to use this guy, and so his solo series started to take form there. It took many years later, because this is early 80s in Daredevil, but he didn't get his own miniseries until 86. So it still was taking time, but this is what was starting to flesh out, like, the general love for the character was Daredevil, which is why it was really fitting that he was in the TV show as Daredevil, first appeared.
Yeah.
Nathan
And same thing with the
Henderson.
TV show, Daredevil actually puts Punisher into prison.
Yeah.
And then when the Punisher is in prison, he's actually he partners up with Boomerang.
Boomerang, that's
And he
DC.
basically yeah. No, I'm telling you, when Punisher gets locked up in prison, he threatens an inmate named Boomerang. And
I
then
guess
what he does is
more than
he
one
tricks
Boomerang.
him. They plan an escape because Punisher is on his vendetta to kill Kingpin, and he vows that he's going to get out and he's going to kill Kingpin. He teams up with Boomerang to break out of prison. While they're escaping, Punisher double crosses him and throws him into the guards so he can get away.
They did the old get help routine. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yep. And then after he gets out of prison, he teams up with Cloak and Dagger
Yeah.
um, to try and kill Kingpin. And at this point, Spider-Man actually tries to protect Kingpin from being killed by the Punisher.
Yeah. No, that's generally how it works too. Is Spider-Man is actually spending most of the issue trying to keep Punisher from actually killing somebody. And most of those books were in fact any other hero that's in a book with them is usually trying to get him to stop. I'll give a real quick shout out to Nathan Henderson who just popped in. He says, "Love this cover. Money/value aside, this is at the top of my list of classic issues I would love to have. It is an amazing book. They even showed this book in the really bad movie called Coyote Ugly. I don't know, it was like a subplot of the movie. Like the kid sold his copy of this to help the girl or something and got it back, or I don't know. Something with dancing on a bar and that book. I don't know. Nope.
Do not know.
Yeah, I do not know. I just remember when I watched the movie, it's like, oh look, I know that book. That's awesome. They got that book. That better not be the real one because they're treating it like garbage. But let's see. So real quick, just a little tidbit of information. Who do you know who? My brain just flooded here. With them. Do you know where to go? I have it, and I want to make sure I phrase the question right. I apologize. Oh, do you know who the Punisher's actual hero is, though?
Captain America.
Captain. That's right, guys. And Nathan Henderson. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat.
Captain America is Frank Castle's hero.
Yes. Captain America is Frank Castle's hero. That is in fact true. And where is it? Well, I just had the window. So, Punisher initially he wanted to join Captain America's side during Civil War, actually, in that storyline in the comics. But Captain America, he apparently hates everything that Frank Castle stands for. Although he did give Frank Castle a chance to join up with that resistance faction that Captain America was leading, but all that changed apparently when two villains offered their services and Punisher killed them in cold blood. So, even his hero had to reject him, which sucks, but he's still his hero. Even then, I mean,
Yep.
Frank understands that he's Frank, and he understands that Cap's Cap. So,
and then there's that run where he kills Captain America.
And I missed that one
because the little bubble. I don't know if I can't remember. Yeah, because I can't remember if he did or not. But I just remember the picture. Captain America's on his knees. Frank Castle's behind him, and he's got a gun pointed to the back of his head, and he says something like, "You were my hero."
This in fact, I'm looking right at what you're talking about. So Captain America actually beat up Punisher when he demanded that Frank fight back, he said he would never fight back against Captain America. In the storyline Marvel versus the Punisher, a virus was turning superheroes into cannibalistic monsters. When Cap was infected, he asked Punisher to kill him before he changed, and that is when the Punisher delivered the line, "You were always my hero." If that's where you're going.
That's what it was. All right.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff is fuzzy for me. So even this is like refreshing, and I'm trying to bring up memory, and a lot of different stories are mixing.
That's okay. I got the internet, man. I'm here to try to help as long as I can read. As long as my eyesight's not playing me. What's up, Big Dog Pound, man? How you doing? It's great seeing you today.
Big Dog Pound 1.
That's right, Big Dog Pound, man. Big Dog Pound in the house. So you're going where from that? So we had so Punisher did he actually end up killing Cap there, or did he just leave him there to get infected and turn?
I can't even remember.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I think he does. I think he does. I just, it's been so long. I could look that up though, if you need me to. Let's see. Give me a second.
But while you're looking that up, there is an interesting thing happening today with the Punisher's logo, right?
Yep,
You
he
know.
kills him.
Okay, so he does end up killing him. All right. Um,
Yep.
but what I was touching on with the Punisher's actual logo, armed forces, police, they like to utilize this logo. And I understand. I'm not on one side or the other of this, but there was actual a bit here that was in the comics that that the Punisher is actually saying to police who are trying to utilize his logo. And I'm going to read this straight from my source here. It says the Punisher uses a specific symbol in his vendetta, the skull head that he wears on his shirts and had painted on his van. Apparently, he drives a van too. Uh, over the years,
He does.
Punisher's symbol was used in comics by others as well as in the real world. Marvel dealt with this in the comics. Punisher found police officers in the comics using his symbol and told them not to. He explained that police made an oath to uphold the law and help people. Punisher said he doesn't do Punisher said that he doesn't do that. His symbol represented death, telling them not to use it or he will come for them next. Which is funny because he actually will refuse to kill, and this is something that differs from the comic books and the TV shows and stuff, because you watch the Punisher show on Netflix, it doesn't seem to bother him one bit. But in the comics, he refuses to kill policemen, but utterly will not make any exceptions for any former soldiers. He will not kill them either. Policemen, he will make an exception for once in a while, but former soldiers, he will not kill apparently at all. What's up, JC? How you doing? So the fact that in that quote there that they're trying to show us that he's about to punish policemen for taking the logo and kill them is pretty hardcore, because in the books he doesn't typically kill law enforcement and or soldiers, but soldiers is definitely no, he doesn't kill them. So like in the TV show, Jigsaw was a former soldier, so would he have killed him in the comic book? I'll ask you that.
No,
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 because he was a former
because
soldier, right?
that not just because he's a former soldier. He was part of his squad. They were pretty much brothers.
Yeah.
If you go from the show and then bring it into the comics, then he wouldn't have killed Jigsaw.
Big Dog Pound is asking, "Is that you?" And
It
yes,
is. It
that is
is.
cigars and bacon. Let me turn on the names. I guess that should probably helpful, right? Let me do my job. There we go. Now we got names. Or well, we're
Yeah,
supposed to have
Carlito
names.
got it right. Yep. Punisher's the name of Punisher's van is actually called the Battle Van.
It just doesn't seem that conducive to have your logo on a van that you want to. I mean, I know his stealth is not necessarily his thing, but he's not like the police. He doesn't want sirens and or announcements that he's coming, right? I mean, wouldn't he rather
Yeah.
pull up on something nondescript and just kind of get out and do his thing?
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, it's just because it's the comics, you know. Put a cool logo on the van, make it look cooler. I mean, his battle van was state of the art. It had like listening and video, high tech computers, weapons, armory in it for him, and then obviously weapons for him to use in the vehicles, heavily armored and bulletproof.
Well, see, again, I agree with all those things, but why does he need his logo on it? That reminds me of like watching the old 60s/70s Marvel cartoons. I know I was watching this one where Magneto was like floating around, like it was with him and the Fantastic Four, and he was like, I am the master of magnetism, and he's floating around. I can levitate because I am the master of magnetism. And he keeps floating around. So are you
It's
saying the Punisher just drives around with the van and he's got the logo on there? He's like, I am the Punisher. I'm just gonna shoot
I
you guys, and
I
you see my
guess
logo coming, you better start a running.
I would assume that he would park it in dark alleyways so people don't see him.
um, Big
I
Dog
wish
Pound's
I had
asking a
this
serious
book.
question. Yeah,
I wish
no,
I
I
had
don't.
this
I don't
book.
have this book. I've seen it in the flesh a few times. In fact, I saw one. I was in my buddy's comic book shop a few years ago, like 5 or 6, no, longer than that, probably 8 years ago, and there was this guy had brought in a tub, and I literally mean like a tub, like one of those carrying totes full of comic books, no bags or anything, right? And my buddy, he's going through the stuff, looking to see what he wants to buy. He usually buys just the whole collection. At the very bottom of the tub, bent and like crushed, like it was underneath all the other books, and it was thrown in there haphazardly, so it was like folded over and all that stuff. Was this book? And he and I looked at each other and about started crying. We were like,
I would cry.
what did you do to this? You know, and it was just mangled. Yeah, it was just bad. It was
A
just so sad.
2.0 at best.
I don't remember if he even tried to grade it, but we were just like, dude, why would you, why, no, why? Just, um, so yeah, it was pretty brutal to see that, but you know, this is a great book. I was, of course, a little too young to buy it the year it came out. Obviously, in fact, it came out a few months before I was born. um, but yeah, Carladio is saying it right. The skull in the van is kind of dated, like Superman wearing red underwear over his tights.
Yeah.
Although I do like the underwear over Batman. You know, I like the black underwear or blue underwear over Batman. I like that costume. I'm weird like that though. Superman, I think he can get away without wearing the underwear over the tights, but Batman, I don't know. I think he kind of needs it. You know, otherwise this suit turns too monotone. You know, just too like one color. Anyway, I digress. We had Batman last week. So after we go through the initial Punisher appearances, and he makes a few special appearances, he comes back in Spider-Man 135, which is another very expensive book. Not quite as expensive, but that's his technical second appearance. What happens there? I have that cover here. There we go. Amazing Spider-Man 135. What was the importance here? Is this the where he's actually going after Spider-Man for the death of Norman Osborn? Because I see Harry here in the picture.
Yeah, well, this is when
And Tarantula
Spider-Man,
is there.
yeah, he finds Spider-Man is basically caught in the middle where he has to fight Tarantula and the Punisher. And this is like when this is because Punisher believes that the crimes that are being committed by Tarantula is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So Punisher starts going after Spider-Man thinking that he's a criminal and because he has no clue about Tarantula. And then some point in the comic he finds out that, it's Tarantula, it's not Spider-Man, so he stops from trying to kill Spider-Man.
So is this also the issue where he finds out that Spider-Man kills his dad, referring to he is Harry Osborn? Because I'm reading at the bottom here, the green part, it says, including the terrible tarantula, Harry Osborn's shocking discovery, and of course it's got a picture of Harry holding the mask. And I don't know what it was about Harry and Norman Osborn. It was in some of those older books, it was really hard to tell the two apart. You had to like really look for that because I mean they had the hair done the exact same way, and it was like Harry had like a longer face, and you had to like look at them side by side sometimes and be like, which one's got the longer face?
Yep.
But
And
I'm
it's
digressing.
it's this comic where, Punisher and Spider-Man stop being enemies and they actually start working together.
Okay.
Because the third appearance of the Punisher, which is giant size Spider-Man number 4.
Okay.
He and Spider-Man actually, this is when they actually shows that they're getting along and they actually fight side by side. And it's a first appearance of a villain. Mm,
Let me
let
see
me
if I
look it
can
up.
find it here.
I want to say Moses, but I can't remember the last name.
Well, Jackal
Let me look
first
it up.
appeared along with
Moses Magnum.
Punisher.
Yeah, Moses
Okay.
Magnum. This is when they fight Moses Magnum, and that was Moses Magnum's first appearance too in the giant size Spider-Man number 4.
Okay. Well, so we're up to this point, and then of course he starts making a lot of appearances in Daredevil, and regrettably I forgot to pull any Daredevil covers to show that off. I slacked there. I apologize. Um, so after the Daredevil though, uh, he's still just making appearances here and there until all the way up until 1986, and then he gets his own miniseries. And believe it or not, I actually don't have a picture of that book here on this computer. Hold on, I got to pull it from my
Um,
other computer. I
I
think
gotta
I'm
I gotta stop
slacking.
you on that one. Actually, Marvel Preview number 2
Oh
is
yeah,
when
the magazine.
Punisher makes his first. That's when we get his actual backstory that he's a former U.S. Marine. His wife and children are killed by witnessing the mob and their killing. That's when this is when we actually get Punisher's origin.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I missed that part. Then I apologize. I'm being a bad host today, and I'm looking for this other picture where I'm being a bad host. So
Marvel preview number 2, and then the next time you'll see him, basically, I think the next time we see him was the next Spider-Man, 162 Spider-Man. Yep, that's when Punisher, Spider-Man, and Nightcrawler team up, and this is also the first appearance of Jigsaw, the Amazing Spider-Man number 162, 1976.
oh wow, that far back, huh? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Where is this cover I'm looking for?
And then you have a bunch of other mashups where you just see Punisher in a couple of different things before the actual 6 miniseries, because you had Classic Cap versus Punisher, which was Captain America. It was Captain America number 241. You get Classic Cap fighting goes against Punisher,
Okay.
and
Well,
then
then eventually we get to 1986 with this one, but
yes.
I'll let you lead up to that because I don't have any of that backstory. I'm gonna have just this one sitting here.
Okay, well, before you get to that, then the next time you'll see Spider-Man was also in 1980, but it was Amazing Spider-Man number 201.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's when Spider-Man actually teams up with Punisher to basically go fight the underworld in New York City.
Wow. So he was in a lot of this. So how much of it was of Punisher's appearances were in Daredevil then?
Daredevil number 181 was the first Punisher Daredevil comic where you see them together, and it's also the death of Elektra.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah, it was basically before this Daredevil comic. This is when Punisher was considered exclusive to Spider-Man story, but then this is when they merged uh, Daredevil and Punisher. Was in Daredevil number 181,
There you go.
and yeah, and then they actually have they partner up, like how you see in the TV show where they're partners, but they're not really partners. It was the same thing in the comic. They just had a mutual they came to a mutual understanding, like they wanted to take down Bullseye and Kingpin.
Wait, is this a facsimile cover? Because that says $5. That can't be right. This is double size, but I still think that's huge. That's bothering me. Hold on. um, let me open this one. Ah, that seems much better. Yes, there we go. I hate to have the wrong stuff up, man. $5 book for it's $1 because it was 50 cents back in the day when that first came out. And this is double size issue, or maybe it was 60 cents. I don't know, but they charge a little bit more. No $5 for it.
Because this
So
is
there
the
you go.
comic where Daredevil 181 to 184 is when Punisher gets thrown in jail, and then 181 through 184 is when we see him escape, like with Boomerang. Like I told you, he escapes with Boomerang, but he throws Boomerang to the cops so he can escape. And then after that, it's the whole battle with Daredevil versus Kingpin, uh, all the drug dealers in New York that are under Kingpin's thing, and the next time you'll see Punisher after that thing was Spider-Man versus Punisher, which was Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 15, where they basically stop their partnership and go at it. But the reason they do is because Doc Ock is behind the scenes manipulating the situation to make Punisher believe that Spider-Man's bad, and then he manipulates Spider-Man into making Spider-Man think Punisher has just gone too off the wall and needs to be put down.
Okay. Well, so yeah, it's this whole arc where he loses where the death of Elektra is in, of course, for the Punisher crossover stuff. So here's 182. So the first one was 181,
Mm-hmm.
and then the one before this it's 183, and then Yeah, there's
184.
181 one. So, and then 184 is let's see, 184. Oh yeah, that's a good. That's the iconic cover right there. That's a beautiful cover. Let me grab that one too. Boom! Look at that. No more Mr. Nice Guy. So this is still versus. That's probably right where he actually escaped.
Yeah. This is where they're fighting, and in order to bring Frank Castle down, Daredevil actually shoots him, and that's how he's able to bring Punisher down and actually take him to prison, is by shooting him.
That's cray cray, man. That's cray cray, as I like to say. Cray cray.
Yeah.
Let me put this back in here. There we go. So we had to do it that way. I apologize, guys. I pulled a lot of images, or at least I thought I pulled a lot of images, but I completely brain farted on the whole. I should have had all the Daredevil ones pulled out. So I totally
So
sucked.
it's fine, man. I mean, like I said, Punisher has been in so many different comics that it's hard to keep up with, because he'll have small appearances, large appearances, or to be completely about him. So it's easy to get lost with Punisher just because he makes so many appearances in so many different Marvel comics.
There we go. They're all in order. So yay. Um, so Daredevil Punisher stuff is happening. Let's see, that's in let me see when that came out. Daredevil number 184.
1982.
So he's still got 4 more years to cover before he gets his own book.
Yep.
That's crazy, man. Crazy. So what else is he doing?
That was the only thing you've seen him after the Daredevil thing, after 82, is the one I said, Amazing Spider-Man Annual 15, where Doc Ock is behind the thing manipulating everybody. And then the next time you see the Punisher is 1986, where he goes solo. And that it was called Circle of Blood, and it was the Circle of Blood miniseries. And that's when we get Punisher actually going solo and getting his official comics.
All right, so this is number 15 here. Right? So that's the Spider-Man versus the Punisher. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that's a 75-cent book. So we jumped 15 cents then. And then the next time you see him is this year,
Right
when he gets
there.
his own title here.
Yep.
Which funny thing is on the cover of these books of the miniseries, it said part whatever in a 4-issue limited series, but it was always intended and always made to be a 5-issue series. But there was an error on the prints for all of them up until number 5, which didn't have it at all. But 1 through 4 always said, 4-issue limited series. And then number 5 comes out, and it doesn't have that banner at all saying what, but it is part of that series. It's number 5. Let me see if we can find that actual image here, because it was actually kind of funny back in the day. Let me see if I can find the image. Yeah. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I clicked on the wrong picture. Oh no, it says in a 5-issue. I'm so confused. All right, so
hey, if anybody in the chat, if you guys got any questions about the Punisher, feel free to ask.
Yes, please, guys. So here's the original cover for the first one, right? Number 1 in a 4-issue limited series. And then why did I click on the buy thing? Then you go to the actual cover of number 5, and that's a bad cover, but let's try that one a little bigger. Number 5 in a 5-issue limited series. So in number 5, they change it, which is kind of funny. They just, it didn't bother them all the way up until number 5 to try to fix the title at the top. To tell you how many issues there were in the series, but it's just kind of funny. And JC says all these books bring back memories. I used to have this miniseries. I did used to have it. I never read it. Here's the miniseries, and it's in toto. There we go.
Yeah, I don't have any I don't have any singles of the Punisher. Well, anymore, because when I left the house for the army, my mom kind of gave all my comics to my cousins, thinking that I grew up. So the only thing I got of Punisher are just Garth Ennis omnibuses, Max Series 1 and 2, Marvel Knights omnibus, Punisher War Machine series, and Punisher when he becomes Cosmic Ghost Rider. Oh, and Punisher kills the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We still got a long way to go with Punisher, and
Yep.
I'm sorry it's a little haphazard, but I couldn't read this today to really do my studying, and cigars and bacon can only pull with so much weight before I sink us both.
I can tell you right now, John Bernthal did confirm that he is coming back as Punisher.
The best Punisher.
He confirmed that he will be reprising his role as the Punisher. So yeah, Disney's going to bring him back.
Now there was a lot of people. This is a little tangent here on the movies specifically and whatnot, but a lot of people before John Bernthal's portrayal loved Thomas Jane over anybody else. I liked Ray Stevenson's Punisher.
Dolph
Where'd you
Lundgren.
like?
I like Dolph Lundgren.
Was he really the Punisher? I mean, he had like boot knives with the Punisher skull. It was
he had the skull. He had the van. He even had the Punisher motorcycle. And for the time, 80s and whatnot, like he did what he could with the script. I mean, it was 80s screenwriting.
It was. So were you a Thomas Jane guy though? I mean, obviously
no,
you like
not really. No, I didn't really like that Punisher, and it wasn't anything with Thomas Jane. It was John Travolta who ruined that movie for me.
Thank you. I think it was
100. He ruined that movie for me. Because all I could see, that was like literally right after he did Swordfish, so he kept the same hairstyle. So I felt like I was just watching Swordfish Part 2.
Yeah. Carlito is saying that Disney Plus will be including more mature content now, like the Netflix Marvel shows. Yes, they've brought all the Netflix Marvel shows over to Disney Plus, and they've updated their parental controls, or at least that's coming down the pipe. That's already, published news as far as that goes. And so you're going to be able to watch that on Disney Plus. You don't have to go over to Hulu and watch it, which is really cool. I'm really stoked that that's all going to be there because, we don't have kids here in this household. So it's always going to be on adults as far as viewing and be able to watch whatever I want on my Disney Plus. It's going to be cool.
Let's see. Big Dog Pound wants to know what storyline can you see Disney adapting for the new Punisher show or movie? Honestly, I can see War Journal being adapted.
Who said that?
Big Dog Pound 1. Big Dog Pound 1.
There it is. He said a few things.
I could see them bringing in War Journal.
And I have issue number 1 of that too. So, yay! I have issue number 1 of the first run of Punisher, like the straight series that he did, with them on that fire escape with the bazooka, that cover.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have the War Journal number 1, but I think my War Journal number 1 got ratted out. It's like in kind of rough shape because it got packed somewhere funny or something. I don't know. It got folded.
Or I could see them if not War Journal, just because of the way things are going with the MCU and whatnot, I could actually see them possibly doing Marvel Knights, adapting the beginning of that, so that way they can bring in other characters.
Well, let's jump into Marvel Knights, shall we? Let's get into that. Hold on. There we go. Boom. There we go. Marvel Knights. This is apparently the definitive or one of the definitive Punisher runs. The artwork here and the cover art's all Tim Bradstreet. And if you guys ever played Vampire the Masquerade, he used to do all of the artwork for those as well. So I love the Tim Bradstreet stuff. He would basically take a picture of a model and then like draw over him or something. But it was pretty crazy stuff. Let's see. Wait, who's going? I see H Green saying have a good night. Does he have to go? Did I miss? Let me go through the chat real quick. Cigars.
Okay.
Andre, I don't read comics. Just like listen to you too. Thank you, Andre. Very much appreciate it. That's that question there. Nathan, have that original Punisher number 2, but to this day still haven't picked up number 1. Yes.
Dang, lucky.
All right, so H Green's got to go. Have a good night, buddy. Big Doll Pound. Okay, we already went through that. Okay, that's all right. Yeah, Nathan is a big fan of Ray Stevenson. I liked Ray Stevenson as a Punisher. I thought he had like a brutality to him that was really cool. Now, the rest of the movie was lacking big time, but I think Ray Stevenson got kind of short-ended there as far as his Punisher portrayal. Because
I still think he did a really good Punisher. He was more, and he actually stuck more with the whole Warzone theme. So I appreciated that, and like his look literally
Yeah.
looks like older, grizzled Frank Castle. Like I dug that. Like compared to Thomas Jane, yeah, he looked more like the Punisher.
Yeah, the Thomas Jane, I had a hard time keeping with the reality of that one, man. It was just like crazy how like the whole family reunion thing just seemed way too like plot serving.
Yeah,
I was like, who does this? Really? Honestly. Who throws
but
a shoe? Honestly.
I like how they kept, you know, how they used Newman from Seinfeld as Microchip because in the comics, um, Microchip is an overweight guy.
Yes.
He's a
Yeah.
smart dude, but he's an overweight guy. Whereas when you see in the TV show, you know, he's a CIA analyst. He's this skinny nerd, and that's not who Microchip is. Because actually, in the comics, Frank Castle and Microchip meet early on before Microchip becomes Microchip. When Frank Castle leaves Vietnam, he gets put into a recruitment center where he's recruiting, you know, future Marines.
Hmm.
And Microchip comes in to enlist in the Marines. And Frank Castle actually tells him, "No, you're overweight and you have flat feet, so you're automatically disqualified." And then
Hmm.
Frank Castle goes on to forget him because you know he just disqualified him. He didn't know anything about him. But that moment is what creates Microchip because he never forgets that Frank Castle is the one that denied him that. So he goes on to become, you know, Microchip, the guy that helps Frank later. But he figures out, you know, if I can't serve my country the way that he wants me to, that's when he starts using his skills to actually um, help Frank Castle later on when they actually meet up. And that's when, like, how you see even in the show, like, he's very good with computers. He's very smart. He can do this and that. And it's the same thing in the comics. He's extremely smart. He's the one that actually builds Frank's weapons for him. And he's the
Well,
one that builds the battle van for Frank.
here's a little bit of spoilers for anybody who's going to go back and read that stuff, though. But there's three different ways microchips kind of been handled. Between the show, the movie, and the net. When I say the show, I meant the Netflix series. So between the movie, the Netflix series, and the comic book, there's three different ways that this relationship pans out. Um, yeah, microchip he did meet really early on. I'm not going to debate any of that, but um, in the movie, which is the Ray Stevenson one, he wasn't in the Thomas Jane one at all. He is overweight, as you pointed out. And he gets killed off in the movie. Um, in the Netflix series, he has a happier ending. He's a kind of lanky kind of guy instead of the bigger kind of guy. But in the comic books, it actually turns out that Frank ends up killing Micro.
Yep,
Yeah,
later
yeah,
on.
much later on.
Because he turns on Frank.
Yeah. Um, did you want to expand on that? Because I'll let you do that if you'd like.
Oh, I thought you were going to go
You
with it.
you
Okay,
probably read
cool.
it. I got an article in front of me. I'll just read. So,
Well, I mean, it'd be the same thing.
all right. So
But
basically,
I'll go with it. Don't worry, I'll go with it.
all right. Go for it. Go for it, man. Go for it.
It's after there's like a run in. Punisher runs in. Punisher and Microchip have a run in with Kingpin, I think. And then, well, no, that's how they meet. That's how they meet was the run in with um the Punisher, or the Kingpin. And then they have their like little partnership that goes on for a while. And I'm trying to remember Microchip? Why did he turn on Frank?
All right. I can pick up the ball here. So
Yeah,
after years of helping Frank, Microchip realized that Frank was losing control and wanted to find a replacement. He appeared to have died at the time, but returned years later in Punisher in the Blood. Frank Castle tried to have the Hood resurrect his family, and Microchip ruined it to have his nephew resurrected. In anger, Castle sliced Micro's throat, killing his old friend. So
yep.
that's where it was, right there. By the way, Bob Dylan, I did have this highlighted, didn't read it. For the Thomas Jane Punisher, he did like his 1911s that apparently his dad had some really nice 1911s made
Yeah,
up.
those were nice.
And then Nathan Henderson hit on my favorite DC character last week and my favorite Marvel character this week. Yeah, well, this is actually recommended by our very own Cigars and Bacon. So I dragged him in here. I was like, you're gonna have to help me because I've only watched the shows. Big Dog Pound says, do you think Disney will have the moxie to keep the Punisher hardcore? Yes, with the new parental controls, I think we won't have any problems. I think that they're finally letting the brand kind of dilute a little bit as far as like all children's stuff all the time, because they understand that it's a market that they need to be able to fill. Otherwise, they're going to lose money. It's all about money. It's no longer owned by Walt Disney, where he's going to be just the brand means more than anything. You know, it's got to be family all the time. It's money now, so they're giving you parental controls. You'll be able to watch whatever content they have that wouldn't be deemed child friendly on the adult side of the Disney Plus system. So it'll all be there. So yeah, even Alien I think is going to be there. So
yep, that's where I agree too. I think Disney's going to finally branch out, and because I mean Disney's giving Deadpool 3 the green light to be R-rated. So
it probably won't be under the Disney banner though. That's going to have like Disney in small print somewhere,
under
like underneath
Marvel,
Fox or Marvel or something. So they're not going to go.
I'm just
Disney.
saying they're still letting it.
But yeah. So one of the other things I wanted to point out though, as far as like where I lost my windows, I got too many things going on. So did you know? Here's a little tidbit of information. I mean, we're kind of jumping around here in his timeline, but did you know that Punisher teamed up once with Eminem, the rapper?
Yes, there was. It was a little comic run. I didn't bother to read it.
Carlito saying they got a blowback for going mature, but no way they backtrack. Yeah, exactly. They'll push through. They'll persevere. Exactly it, man. They can't back up now. Oh, Bob Dylan's sending me some pictures. Let's see what he's wearing today. Oh, he's got the Thomas Jones. There's the 1911s there. Let me make that bigger. I forgot that showed up on this window. Even bigger. There you go. Right there. They are pretty. Modified. Real nice. I like them. Oh, this is searching through all of mine. No, wait. That's something else. There you go. I lost what I was doing. I'm sorry. But yeah, apparently in a very strange turn of events, the Punisher story, Marvel Comics tried to cross over with the music industry and had Frank Castle teaming up with rap star Eminem. Punisher shows up and executes Eminem's bodyguards, and that sends the rapper into hiding, where he finds one of the Punisher's deadliest enemies, Barracuda. Who's Barracuda? Can you tell us that? I don't know. Oh, sorry, CMB. Did I drop you out, or did you get knocked out?
No, somebody tried to call me and it knocked all the volume out, so I had to get out and
no. Did you hear what I was asking about Barracuda?
No, I didn't.
So who is Barracuda? How about that? Apparently, it's one of Punisher's deadliest enemies. So
Barracuda. I know he's a super villain. He's an enemy of the Punisher. He's like a merc, and like a gangster. If you would put two of those together, he's really bad. Like in the comics, he's known for rape, mass murder, kidnapping, and cannibalism.
Well,
he was in Garth Ennis's run.
All right. So, Eminem ends up running around with him.
5 issues. I'm sorry. He was 5-issue run with Barracuda.
Okay. Yeah, but like I said, Eminem he works with Barracuda to take out Punisher before the rapper realized it was all set up because Barracuda was hired to kill Eminem. Sorry, I was reading that verbatim. I'm sorry, but there was a question in the chat earlier about Punisher once became War Machine.
Yep.
Do you know how that happens? Or should I get into what I got here?
You, you can get into what you got, and then
All right.
if there's anything else, I'll fill it in.
All right. So once Punisher became War Machine, there was this time in the comics where Punisher gained access to the War Machine armor, and he became one of the new armored heroes, making pretty much making the Punisher deadlier than ever. But this happened when Hydra Supreme took control of Steve Rogers' body, and Hydra took over America. So believing that this was still his hero, let's see, Captain America, Punisher worked with Hydra in his war on terror, and with some major firepower, when he realized he was being used, he accepted the War Machine armor from Nick Fury Jr. and set out to destroy what was left of Hydra. He refused to give it back until Jim Rhodes showed up and convinced him to return the armor to him. So essentially, Hydra is taking over Steve Rogers, and Punisher thinks he's helping Steve Rogers. Then he realizes he's being used, and then he destroys Hydra and the War Machine armor. And then Nick Fury Jr., I don't know who that was, Urkel or something, but I don't know Nick Fury Jr., I'm sorry, set out to destroy what was left of Hydra. So, yeah, good times there. What is
Yeah, you pretty much you nailed it. Although I must have been thinking wrong because I thought that Tony Stark gives him the armor.
Well, he gets access to it, as my article said there. It doesn't say exactly how he gets it, but
Yeah, because I remember reading Tony gives him it because I remember Tony says, "I want that armor back," and Punisher says like something like "Good luck" or "We'll see," and then he takes off and leaves.
Okay, all right. Bob Dylan, he was asking too for clarification on that. And Doc Smizzle, what's up, Doc Smizzle? He says that he steals it, and then he says IRC, and then he says, "Oh well, I guess not." And then Bob is wondering what IRC means. And then I'm gonna read this whole conversation. Doc says, "I guess he had the extended rental," and then Doc Smizzle, if I recall correctly, IRC. So now I know what that means too. That's why I wanted to follow that train. And then Bob Dylan, of course, is thanking him as well. So I will thank you as well. So there you go. IRC, if I recall correctly. That seems a lot easier to say if I recall correctly, though, for me.
I always wondered what that meant, so now I
Yeah,
like it.
exactly. We've learned something new. If nothing about the Punisher, we've at least learned about IRC. So good times, noodle salad. Let's touch on some of the other Punishers. There's the War Machine one. I meant to have that up there when I was talking about the War Machine. But there's Punisher War Machine crossover there. But the one I was about to pull up right now, okay, boomers. Dang, man, there goes that term now. Jeez, man. I hate that term. That's crazy because I'm not a boomer. But here's one I wanted you to talk about because you were all like, we got to mention this. Boom. Franken Castle.
Oh, Frankencastle.
Franken
I told you that's like that's my least favorite run on the Punisher. Is Frankencastle. I felt that it was unnecessary and just no.
He looks
I
cool
don't
though. He
want.
looks
All
kind of
right.
cool. Look kind of beefy. Beefcake. I'm
Yeah.
liking the design. I mean, I don't know anything about this book, but I kind of like the design. It's like they wanted to make their own Bane, but a zombie version, maybe. With the tubes and everything. I don't know. So, other than the fact you don't really
Yeah.
like this
To me,
character,
it felt like almost like Marvel was trying to do a Universal Studios like original Monster Crew.
and he does join the Monster Crew
Just
for a while. Morbius makes him into Frankenzombie, um,
yep.
if I recall,
And
and
it's
he joins like the monster,
Morbius.
whatever Monster Crew.
By Night is in it. Man Thing is in it.
Yeah. So apparently, with Frankenzombie in the Dark Reign storyline, Norman Osborn created his own team of Dark Avengers. And with villains taking on the roles of the classic heroes, one of these villains was Logan's son, Dakeem, who went on to become the new Wolverine. He was also sent to kill Frank, and he succeeded chopping Punisher into pieces. However, Punisher did not remain dead. Morbius gathered the pieces, had him reassembled, and resurrected as Frankenstein-styled monster called Frankencastle. He joined the Legion of Monsters and worked with them until Elsa Bloodstone healed him and returned him to normal. And I'm reading that verbatim from Screen Rant right now. So just want to give credit where credit's due because I was reading that verbatim. I haven't read the book. But there's the gist of it. So Morbius. And maybe we'll see Frankencastle now that we get the Morbius movie, which, is so poorly marketed. I almost keep forgetting that it's coming out on April 1st. I think it is an April Fool's Day joke that they're even going to do it, to be honest with you, but I have no control of that. I feel like I've shut down the entire
I don't know.
Say something.
I think it's coming, man. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get Frankencastle just because of Morbius. Because if they introduce, I know they are introducing Morbius, but in order to get Frankencastle, you'd have to introduce Werewolf by Night.
Well, he's getting introduced in Moon Knight, from what I understand.
Yeah, they're gonna introduce Moon Knight.
No, and they're gonna introduce Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight, from what I understand.
Oh yeah. So I mean, we could get a Frankencastle, but I hope not. This was literally one of my least favorite runs with Punisher. It was goofy.
Bob Dylan's acting Big Dog Pound. Do you own any Punisher figures or comics? We'll let Big Dog Pound field that question because that's not direct. I have a couple of comic books, but I haven't actually read them. I'm bad at that. So there's the Frankencastle. We wanted to make sure we touch base on that today. Let's see if there's anything else really big here. Punisher once became an avenging angel. What do you have to say about that, Cigars and Bacon? I know you had mentioned that earlier.
That is the Marvel Knights run, where Punisher is he gets convinced by demons to commit suicide, and then an archangel comes and I believe revives him. He brings him back from the dead, but when he does, he gives him angelic power. So with that, Frank is actually granted he gets access to all of Heaven's weapon armory.
Oh wow. Real quick here,
and then during Marvel Knights is also when Frank learns that Frank Costa, the guy that was responsible for killing his family, he finds out that he was actually a demon.
Wow, that seems kind of a shoot in there.
Yeah,
but okay. Interesting.
Oh no! No, I'm sorry. He finds out that Frank Costa wasn't the demon. He finds out that Frank Costa was not the one who was responsible for his family. That there was a demon. I think it begins with an O, and it's like a name. It's a common name, and I want to say like something like Oliver. But a demon named, I'll just say Oliver, he's the one that actually killed Frank's family.
All right. Before I forget here, Big Dog Pound was talking about. He's like, I'm trying to get a hold of that Amazing Spider-Man 129 before it goes through the roof. Good luck. Depending on where you go to buy it, it can be upwards of $55,000 right now at a 9.8. Now, if you want to go a lower grade, I did see a few floating around for a couple grand, but you really want to be very particular on what you buy on eBay if you're going to go that route, because there are a lot of facsimile covers out there, but like a 6.5 to 6.0 is going to run you about $2,500. Just to give you an idea of where they're shooting at here. Here's an 8.0 for $4,000. And these are still, no, that's a buy it now. $4,000 there for an 8.0. So it might already be out of your wheelhouse for price wise. 3.0 is going to be upwards of $1,500. So, some crazy stuff, Big Dog Pound. If you want to track one down, man, if you want one that's graded anyway, if you want to find a raw one, the prices might be a little better. But I would personally probably try finding one in your local comic book shops and maybe haggling from there because you know that's your best bet for finding good deals on these kind of books, particularly because what happens is they buy these books and they can sit on them for years, if they're not careful, and they really need to turn that around and get money back in their pockets. So they'll usually work with you to sell it to some place that's some point that's reasonable for them where they're still making a profit, and it hooks you up if you got a decent story going with. So um yeah, so I would check your local stores and try to find one there. As far as that goes, Bob Dylan,
Oh,
he says, I
and
had
the
to
oh,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was gonna finish up the Marvel Knights thing. It's
Oh
basically
yeah, I'm sorry. I thought we were
Punisher.
done with that.
Yeah, no, Punisher ends up teaming up with an angel. They kill the demon, and then the angels offer Frank Castle to join them to work for heaven. Basically, punish those that need to be punished. But he declines, and when he declines, he loses all of the powers and abilities that they bestowed upon him, and he goes back to being Frank Castle, the Punisher, and then continue to the next saga for him.
Bob Dylan, man. Oh, that sucks, man. He apparently had to shed a lot of his books long ago due to water damage. His basement, had some flooding problems.
Oh,
That sucks, dude. I intend to have my collection stuff in a basement, but I don't want to have anything on the floor. So this should be fun. I eventually want to be in my own little central bomb shelter control war zone cage or cave, man cave, I guess so they call it. But I definitely want to be subterranean for my needs. But yeah, that's always rough. I know we've
yeah,
kind of
that
skipped
happened
past
to me in
this
my
because
last
this is
house.
the flooding that happened in your last house.
Yeah, like floating. My last house, our water heater died, and it dumped water, and it went from because our water heater was in the garage.
Mhm.
There was so much water that it went into the bathroom, through like under the bathroom floors, and it made its way into my man cave. And I came downstairs one morning into my man cave, and there was like half an inch of water.
Ooh.
Luckily, I kept everything, elevated, so
Mhm.
nothing got wet except for like you know, bookshelves and things like that. So
Yeah,
it was luck. I got lucky because I keep everything elevated, but I can only imagine coming downstairs and finding all my comics wet. I
dude,
would
I'd,
probably
I'd lose
cry,
my ever
to be
living
honest.
mind, dude. I'd go nuts. So I know we kind of skipped past this book here because this looks like it's before the Marvel Knight stuff takes off. Just given by the cover artwork here, this looks like a yeah, '89
Yep.
Marvel Knights and whatnot takes off in the '90s. So this is Punisher versus Moon Knight, right? So this is something we may want to look out for in the upcoming shows, possibly. Well, you asked me to pull this one aside in particular. So what were you thinking here with this?
For what? For this? I mean, this is basically Punisher versus Moon Knight, and Moon Knight actually wins this fight.
Well, I should hope so. He's got superpowers, right?
Yeah.
So to some
hmm
degree, I don't know much about Moon Knight either. That's gonna be
There was
fun. He
actually
has his
a
own show
point.
coming out.
Yeah, there was actually like it was rated, right? A lot of people rated and graded it, and basically Moon Knight won through a point score, and it was 4-3. So it was really close. Like pretty much, it was really close.
They can never let somebody just actually
But the
win when they
reason,
have two heroes compete on the comic book, right?
yeah, and not recently, but basically like early 2000s, they actually finally Marvel came and explained why Moon Knight hates Punisher because Punisher killed Moon Knight's brother.
Ooh, that could translate into a nice crossover in their TV series, possibly,
Yep.
possibly, very possible. And then the other one that we want to touch on is Cosmic Ghost Rider uh, Punisher. How does this come about? Or should we not talk about it?
Um, we could talk about it. I mean, it's a weird run.
I mean,
It's
this is just
weird
stuff
because
you
he
told me to
becomes a
pull up,
cosmic.
man.
He becomes cosmic. Yeah, he becomes cosmic Ghost Rider, and he's basically placed in charge with protecting. like baby Thanos.
Baby
It's an
Thanos
alternate.
from Rhodey,
It's an
from Jim
it's
Rhodes, who
a
wanted to,
it, it's an alternate. It takes place on an alternate reality of Earth, and where Thanos conquers the entire universe, and Frank Castle dies, and when he dies, he gets given the power of the of Ghost Rider, but with cosmic abilities.
yeah.
And it was Frank Castle wasn't part of the Earth with this Thanos. It's weird. Like in the alternate reality, that this Thanos is from a different alternate reality, and he tasks Frank Castle from Earth 616 to become when he hold on, I'm getting a lot mixed up. Okay, Thanos comes to that Earth, and during this, it plays out the whole way. Like Thanos goes against all of Earth's mightiest superheroes, but in this one, Punisher was actually one of the last people to stand. But he dies, but he was one of the last ones that survived the fight. And then when he dies, he gets sent to hell. And then when he gets sent to hell, um, he basically tells he says, I will give anything in order to basically kill Thanos for him destroying the planet. So he signs a
Mm.
deal with Mephisto and he becomes the Ghost Rider. When he comes to Earth, he finds out that Thanos is gone, and basically the whole like he left the planet dead.
Duped.
Yeah, and he basically runs around for a couple years, on a dead planet as the Ghost Rider, and then he ends up going crazy and he sits there screaming for Mephisto, to talk to him and all that. And Mephisto never answers him, and he ends up just going crazy. And then what happens is Galactus ends up like injured, and he ends up on Earth looking for help from Thanos. But everybody's gone, and Thanos is gone, so nobody's really there to help Galactus. So Ghost Rider makes a deal with Galactus, saying that he'll give him the dead Earth in exchange for giving him the power to kill Thanos. And Galactus agrees to it because he's injured and he eats the planet. He'll heal, and he agrees to it. And that's when he gives Ghost Rider cosmic power, and that's when uh, Punisher, aka Ghost Rider, becomes the Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Damn.
And then he travels basically the galaxy on this hunt looking for Thanos. Um, and what ends up happening is that it goes for centuries where he's just searching for him, and he finally confronts Thanos.
I'm curious who would win
And
that fight, Cosmic Ghost Rider or Thanos.
well, Thanos ends up cutting because he goes with Galactus looking for him,
Mm.
and Thanos actually kills Galactus. He cuts his head off.
What? What is a
Yep.
Galactus? Oh well,
Mm-hmm.
that's cray cray, man.
And
That's cray
then
cray.
what happens is basically he knows he's not going to win. Galactus is dead. He's not going to win, and Thanos actually gives him, basically he gives him a choice: basically die or join him. And he said he makes the deal. He's like, if you join me, because he's a Ghost Rider. He's like, if you join me, he makes sure he tells him something like, if you join me, I will. We can scour the galaxy and the universe for all the evil, and you can basically punish all of them.
Mm.
And he agrees. Uh,
Oh damn.
Cosmic Ghost Rider agrees, and then what Thanos does is he gives him a shard, small little piece of the time stone, so he can use it to travel between times, so he can grab a young Thanos. So that way, and he needs the young Thanos to bring him to the future Thanos, so that way he can have a chance of killing this enemy known as the Fallen One. Um, Ghost Rider goes and tries to fight the Fallen One, but he ends up losing. He gets smashed by Mjolnir.
Damn. he just can't get a break, can he? I mean, first he's going to kill Thanos, and then he's like going to work with Thanos, and then he just gets his butt kicked all over the place.
Yep.
That's how I summed it up. But Punisher gets his up and comings though. He gets to make it out though with Punisher kills the Marvel universe, right?
Yeah. I mean, and
Yeah,
that
he
was
gets to
like
kill the whole
Marvel's.
Marvel
That yeah.
universe.
That's like That was Marvel's, like how you had Deadpool kills the universe. That was their take using Punisher.
Yeah, but Punisher gets to kill the whole universe at least, so that's
Yeah,
good.
he kills everybody. He kills every superhero. He kills every supervillain.
And then the last set of covers I got pulled up here. Well, I got one more set after this, but Punisher Soviet. You asked me to bring this one up as well. This is a Garth Ennis one as well, who's one of Punisher's biggest proponents as far as writers go. He's like the what's considered today the most definitive Punisher book writer out
Yeah.
there is Garth Ennis.
Yeah,
So,
real quick though, to finish up the Marvel,
sorry,
Punisher kills the Marvel universe.
we'll go back.
He kills every superhero and villain, like I said. But the tragic ending is, at the end, he kills himself.
Ah, yes. Well, that's actually Punisher's little creed there. Um, what was it? I had it pulled up here.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the like tragic take. Like you
Punisher
said, Punisher
saving
can never catch a break. Like
well,
even though they
Punisher's
allowed him to
saving one
kill the
bullet.
universe, he just comes and ends up killing himself because
Yeah.
you know
Well,
he goes against this thing.
he's always saving one bullet for himself, right?
Yep, yep.
Um,
Yep. He's got a bullet with his name actually etched in it. It's
yeah.
the bullet meant for him.
And that was established in the Punisher Max series, right? Frank Castle operating outside the mainstream Marvel universe in his own war on villains. The series saw Frank Castle active as a vigilante for 30 years and had killed almost 2,000 people. However, he had an insight in this series, and it's something that would carry over to the main Punisher series as well. When talking about the villains he killed, he was asked about his role as a murderer and what that meant in his vendetta. That is when Frank said that he was saving one bullet for himself and he would end his life when his war on crime came to a close. And of course, if he killed the entire Marvel universe, I would think his war on crime also would come to a close. So yeah, it makes sense that he'd kill himself at the end of that if they were to hold true to that established little lore. Um, Nathan Henderson says, "Jesus, I'm here to die for your sins. Punisher, I'm here to punish you for all your sins and mine." I like it. I like it. All right, so we can move on from the kills of Marvel Universe, right? Go back over to Soviet.
Yeah.
What's up with Soviet? Now I take it he's in Russia,
It,
or is it a Soviet
yeah,
version
it's
of
just a
Punisher?
quick. No. He's in Russia. It was a quick. It was like a 6 issue miniseries,
Okay.
and it was still Garth Ennis's run,
Yeah.
and it basically he's hunting down Russian mobsters and taking them out. Um,
Oh. Okay.
but
Did
what
he
ends
follow
up
Blade over
happening
there
is
after his movie?
Hmm?
Sorry. I said, did he follow Blade over there after his movie? Is that why he went over there? The first Blade movie, he ends up in
Yeah,
Russia. Yeah,
yeah.
at the end of it. I was making a bad joke. Laugh. Laugh, I say. All right. That's cool. I'll let you finish. So he goes over there to hunt
No,
more
it's
gangsters.
yeah. He's basically there hunting more gangsters, and I can't.
But what
That's
was his
one I
drive
didn't
to go
really
over there
read.
other than more gangsters? I'm sure there was still plenty left here in the U.S. he hadn't gotten to yet. I mean, was there a specific
I'm
drive? Like,
trying.
it's
I'm
cool if you don't
trying
remember.
to remember. I'm trying to remember.
All right.
Um, Give me a second. If you want to go to something else,
No, please
I'll
take your
pull it
time.
up and
Take your
try to
time. We got
refresh
nothing
my
else going
memory
on.
because I really can't remember too much about
So,
because it
guys,
was a Max series as well.
yeah. So, guys, what was your favorite moment in any Punisher history? Either shows, movies, or even books if you read them. What's been your favorite moment? Speak up in the chat there, or if you're watching this in the replay, of course, leave a comment. Let me know. your favorite Punisher moment is. Of course, I only have the show to go off of, so John Bernthal has been my Punisher since the first time I saw him on the screen, and yeah, picking a favorite moment out of that is also good. You know, I just love his brutality, yet he can, be empathetic. I think I like season 2 of the Punisher series better than season 1. I think. I don't know. That's all I have.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Now I remember it. All right. So Frank finds a bunch of Russian mobsters who've been shot to death, and he
Oh,
doesn't know who does it, but he admires the person whoever did it. And then he comes
gotcha.
to find out that the guy that doing the killing is a dude named Valery Stepanovich, who'd served time during the Russian war in Afghanistan, and he was
Mhm.
basically a torturer, known as a brutal torturer. And he, the like he was known as brutal torturer by the hands of the Mujahideen. Basically, he liked to capture them, torture them in unspeakable ways. Then then it goes on. Basically, he wants to basically. Oh, never mind. He witnessed the brutal torture of his comrades by the
Okay.
Mujahideen, and the nightmares basically plague him, and like they twist his mind, they warp his brain. He basically goes crazy because he can't get the thoughts and the images of everything he went through out of his head. So what's happening is he ends up telling Frank that he is on a mission to find out who sold him and his unit out to the Mujahideen. And they find out that it's this one guy, Konstantin Pochenko, who's the new kingpin of the Russian mob.
Ah, all
And
right.
Frank teams up with him, because he's killing bad guys, and it's a fellow military guy.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha.
they
So
go
it's
on a
back. It's
mission.
back to his roots of
They
helping out the
yeah,
military, former military people.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So they basically team up, and Frank helps him find the guy that was responsible for uh, his unit being sold out to the Mujahideen, and then his friends all dying in front of him.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So then we get the last cover here out of this repertoire of covers that you asked me. This is a Jason Aaron work here, right? Is this the newer stuff? I take it this looks like a newer cover as far as the artwork goes.
This does look like a newer cover.
Well, this is I
I
put in
think
Jason
this
Aaron and got
is
this cover. So
yeah.
you told me to
Yeah,
pull up
this is
Jason
the
Aaron.
one where Punisher is this I if this is the one I'm thinking, then this is the one basically where it's the new one that they're doing where Punisher is going to become the leader of the hand. He's going to change his
Oh,
skull emblem, and he doesn't use guns and rifles. He's just going to go with hand to hand and bladed weapons for his
yeah, I'm
arsenal.
not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that at all. And if I'm lagging about here right now, buffering, I apologize. So I get the little thingy telling me my internet's choking for a second.
I'm not a
Um,
fan of it either. Punisher is that's what Punisher is known for is firearms, explosives, and firearms.
if we want another ninja or something, we could, look at Daredevil or somebody else's more, Shang-Chi, any of that kind of stuff. We don't need to steal from that to the Punisher should be in his own little lane here. I don't know. This just feels like like they're revisiting what they did to Wolverine. Gave him that, when Wolverine had his solo series, he went over to Japan and did all this kind of just given by the cover, just all this kind of samurai-esque type story arcs and
Oh, the
stuff.
Japan's Most Wanted,
Yeah,
Wolverine
that kind of
Japan's Most
stuff.
Wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah.
this is
I
just
don't.
what
I
this cover
mean,
is saying to me.
they're doing it because of what we were talking about earlier too. The skull being used for stuff that they didn't want, and then
Yeah.
obviously people complaining that Punisher's too brutal with his means of enacting
Meanwhile, he's
justice.
covered with blood on the
It's
cover
like
of the shirt.
You know, exactly. And it's like nobody has had a problem with the Punisher since the 70s up until now. It's not something new. You know, everybody and anybody that knows the Punisher, if you bring him up, they go, "Oh yeah, that's the guy that kills bad guys."
Yeah, I don't quite agree with all this rebranding of an established character. I'm all fine with creating new characters and stuff, but Jerry Conway knew what he was doing when he created this character, particularly with the skull
Hmm.
design on the outfit. In fact, the skull design was initially his, but it was more like a t-shirt kind of little quarter over the chest is where it was. Whereas Ramada, he then of course later puts the huge logo on the chest when they finally decide on the design. But uh, it still was the same logo, it was that skull logo. So, it was intended to have that. And as I mentioned before, that logo, it's the symbol about sharing death, is what it is. So, it's he's got a reason for it. And if anybody here who wants to use it should understand that reason for it. So, in this example that I read to you earlier about this, symbol, about sharing death. Yeah, I don't know. I agree that police officers maybe probably don't want to go advertising this, but a trained soldier, that's unfortunately what they have to do. You know, uh, it's not like they can just go around handing out lollipops. I don't know. I'm going to dig myself
Yep.
into a hole, and I don't want to do that. So I'll be quiet now. But
Oh man.
uh,
No, you're fine. Like I agree with you. Like, dude, when I was in the army and we were over there, everybody had the Punisher skull on everything. Nobody was complaining then.
yeah. Well, nobody on in your outfit.
You
I'm
know,
sure the other side
I
wasn't
mean,
too
like,
thrilled with
cause you know, cause yeah, probably, yeah, probably they weren't probably too thrilled, but yeah, cause I just remember always seeing like pictures and news articles, you know, and they'd show the vehicles, and most times, if you looked hard enough, you would see the Punisher skull that was spray painted on the vehicle.
it. Yeah,
Nobody was saying anything then.
yeah. Um, yeah. As far as that, I mean, it's a symbol, and I feel that the appropriation from the military services, I think it's kind of legitimate as far as that symbol goes. But I do agree that maybe perhaps civil servants like police probably should steer clear from throwing that tag in their vehicles or whatever with this. Just probably not the
Yeah.
best message to send. I'm not saying you can't like the
Mhm.
Punisher. I'm just saying it's probably not the best message to send. But military, I get it. I
Well,
get it.
like yeah, with military, we have dark humor, and
Yeah,
that's how most people get through the service is because our humor is dark. But that's because we accept the fact that any moment in time we may have to give our life in service of our country.
yeah,
So we spend most of our time making light and fun of the fact that of the dark stuff that people are like, whoa, why are you joking about that? But for us, it's because we've accepted reality that, you know, any moment in time we're going to be gone.
yeah. It's sad that we even have to go this far, though. Too. I mean, I just want to kind of be the devil's advocate here, and there of course this is a worldwide system here, YouTube. So I don't want to be like America, but it's sad that we actually have to go to these extents as it is. I mean, logo be damned. I mean, just the fact that there is these conflicts that we have to resolve in these manners. It's very. Um, you would think we would learn by now how to get through these things without resorting to these measures. And so the fact that it's something that's brandished in the manner that's brandished and feels like it's required or whatever to kind of get their point across and all that stuff. The fact that it needs to be done is very sad. The fact that it's there and being used that way. But I also don't disagree with the people that feel that they can associate themselves with it. Um, does that make any sense? Because I'm just trying to play both
No,
sides
I know
here.
what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, you're not taking sides. You're just trying to see it from both sides of
Yeah,
you without
I
taking
mean,
sides. Yeah.
I'm sure. Everybody else has got their own sigil that they utilize. Depending on what side they're with. So you know, um, there's this sigil and then there's that sigil. I mean, I don't know. my
Yep.
education on the subject is pretty ignorant, so I apologize. I'll move on. How about this Mountain Dew? This is great. Nothing like diet Mountain Dew, let me tell you. Nathan Henderson, man, he's saying, I'm here to die for your sins, Punisher. I'm here to. Oh, we had already gone through that, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
That was like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, we already went
Man,
through that. Mm-hmm.
sorry about that. Well, Nathan Henderson, I'll say hi again. Well, so that's what else do we want to round out with the Punisher here? Because I mean, this is all the covers I got. Anything you want to add? Because I mean, again, I'm only on the show as far as my experience with him, and I love the show. I love the show. I love his first appearance in the shows, particularly the Netflix shows. I liked the movies. I would say I didn't necessarily love any of the movies, but I did like them. But John Bernthal, I felt, even though I haven't read the books, I felt that he probably clicked the most realistic wise of the Punisher, given my impressions of him through the years. Um, from what you've said before, I would say that you agree.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'm not going to continue to speak for you, so I'll leave you. I'll kind of hand you the ball with that.
No, I agree. No, I
Um,
agree. To
but
me, like, out of all the people we've seen that's taken on the roles of Frank Castle from comic iteration to live action, I honestly believe that John Bernthal is like the epitome of Frank Castle.
yeah, he is right up there as like the
Yeah,
perfect casting.
like yeah, he's able to show us, the rage that the Punisher has, but then he's also able to show you that even through all that rage, Punisher's still a good guy. Like all his intentions are like for the betterment of people. He's looking out. Like like the way that John Bernthal runs with his Punisher is he enacts punishment to those who need it while standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
yeah. Well, I love how they loop him in the storylines too. Like the was it the you had your Daredevil appearance where he was just got out of the hospital and he starts avenging his you know his wife and kids, and then the first episode of the first series, season one, we kick off with he's presumed dead and he kind of gets sucked in because he goes to help this kid out that fell in with the wrong group of people, right? At the construction site.
Yep.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the second series is kind of the same thing. He's in his bar and things are going awry and he steps in because he's that type of person. He's got to step in. And I love that about him. He's the type of person that's got to step in, but he's not going to apologize for it whatsoever. He's going to take care of it and he's going to stay
Yep.
with it until it's done. I mean, that's I think why I like season 2 so much. He saves the girl. Spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched it, but he saves the girl at the beginning of the beginning of the season. And not only does it save her, and yeah, he lures her on as bait and everything, but he makes sure that she's okay. He's on top of like almost her every move. There's a couple of times she slips away from him, but he doesn't let her go until he makes sure that she's out of danger. And I love that about him. He was just like just on task, and
A hero. He's a
yeah,
hero.
yeah, and a very realistic hero, in my opinion. And I
Yep.
loved it. I loved it. The Jigsaw
I think that's
storyline,
another
though, I
reason why I
thought was
like the
kind of
Punisher.
yeah.
Because Punisher is like Batman. No real superpowers. Everything is how they train their body and their mind.
Well, you did say he's got some kind of abilities, but I think that's all with training, right? Like his
Yeah, yeah. His
oh,
abilities aren't like like cosmic or anything like that. He's trained his body to have an abnormally high pain tolerance, which basically to damn near where he doesn't feel pain at all. He's trained in guerrilla warfare, military, special operations, close quarter combat, infiltration, weapons marksmanship. You got martial arts, like I said, explosives and demolitions, hand to hand combat, knife combat. He's got investigator skills, and he's an excellent interrogator. Um, He's super knowledgeable. Obviously, in order to protect himself, they always make it a point to let you know that he's knowledgeable in law enforcement. So that's why he's always able to stay steps ahead of them because he knows how they do their stuff. And he's also, because of his years of infiltrating bad guys and stuff, he knows how to get into the minds of criminals and know like where to find them, hunt them, all of that. So he's just got your, typical person who trains type of abilities. Like I said, mental and physical training to get him to where he's at now. It's nothing like, oh, he got bit by a radioactive spider or got hit by a cosmic wave. All of his abilities were learned.
Yeah. I think one of the things that really helped sell his character too in the show for the general audiences was Karen Page's character. In Daredevil, when you first meet her and she gets involved with him in the Daredevil series, and of course she continues to stay involved with him through the other two episodes in his own seasons. And I think her character is really what helps us see the other side of it. Of course, we see his side of it, and we see that he feels he needs to do something, but to really get into his head, I think the fact that they use her, I think, is really brilliant. The way in which she uses her, and in fact, though, her character in the comic book was a throwaway character. She, if I recall correctly, she ODs and dies in the comic books, but here they've made her pretty
Yes,
straight. She's
she
not a
does.
drug addicted. I've worried that they would go down that path because I love her character, but you know, uh, I think they killed off Ben Urich and wanted to just fill his shoes with her. So that was good for me because I liked her character a lot, and I feel that she does a great job in both series, really, to help balance out these characters. But I think it really helps most with Frank. Um, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I feel that that's what they did. They used her basically as almost like an anchor for Frank. Like when he was what was be perceived about to go off the rails and completely off the walls, they always have her, and it's like I want to say, oh, I'm gonna use it like this. He's Hulk, she's Black Widow. Hey, big guy, sun's getting real low. Like that type. That's what they used her for. Like, and you can tell that they used her to show you Frank's human side, that he's not
Yeah,
just this monster that's out for vengeance, that there is a side to him that most don't see.
yeah. Because I
And
mean,
like
they
with
they
and
mold
the
her
way
up
he
kind of
acts
like a
with her,
sister, or a daughter.
yeah, yeah. It's almost like, you can tell he doesn't want to show that because it makes him look vulnerable. But when it comes to her, it's like something about her, he can't control the fact that he lets his guard down.
Yeah, and it's also great to use her for the expedition type stuff. The exposition type stuff where you want to learn some backstory, and she's sitting there doing the research, and it's just a better way of doing the exposition for the backstories and
Hmm.
stuff than just having him flashback or whatever. And so that works really well too, in my opinion. But yeah, I love Karen Page's character in the show, and I think she really helps out Frank's show even more than she helps out Daredevil. I think in his show. Um, his show, in my opinion, just got really sloppy when they threw in Elektra. It just, they went down this road with Frank Castle's character and Punisher, and then like after 4 episodes in, they're like, "Oh, let's throw in Elektra too." And I was like, ugh,
Yep. I
"Why?
just
Why do we need
didn't
that?"
like the fact that with Daredevil, you had her and then Rosario Dawson. So you had two of these female leads
Yeah,
that were used to help these characters like show them like there's another way to do this. It doesn't all have to be fists, like an anchor. And
yeah,
it kind of got confusing because you get introduced to Karen first, don't you? And then it was Rosario
yeah,
Dawson, nurse patching him up.
yeah,
But it kind of diminished Karen's role because then they started focusing on how Nurse Rosario was the one that was keeping Matt Murdock from going off the rails,
yeah,
and then they just kind of made Karen like his fling, and then threw her away, and then she kind of migrated towards Frank Castle.
yeah, yeah. Well, she's in all of these shows, which is great. I love it. But so is there anything else we want to bring up about Frank and the Punisher though before we wrap it up for the day? Anything else that we might have missed or we need to touch on or
Mm,
giving you the
ask
aficionado?
anybody in the chat got any questions? Anybody in the chat got any questions about Punisher? Anything you want us to? Well, I'll try to remember, and if I can't, I'll just have to look it up.
Yeah. If not, we got Google Foo.
Hey, I did the best I could. There were a lot of things I did remember, and then other things I just got mixed up and were combining that I had to look up.
Yeah, no, you've been doing great, man. You've been doing great, and I'm finally getting acclimated to the distance of the computer screen as far as my glasses go, so I can actually read things again. Man, that's the most infuriating thing, man. Trying to transition to these bifocals, man. Just like right now, I can use my nearsighted. This is of course a huge tangent, but I can use my nearsighted. You know, the lens that lets me see further away. I can use that to read the monitor because it's the distance I can do that. Whereas earlier, I had to use the nearsighted or no, sorry, the farsighted the bifocal part to read everything, and that was infuriating because you just have your head back. That's the whole time, and so it's just crazy how this is working, and just my eyes are not adapting fast enough. But it was like the whole day of me trying to be able to see. It was crazy. So that's why my homework's not as in depth as it was for Batman. Just trying to get used to these glasses. But it doesn't look like anybody else is speaking up today, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Cigars and Bacon, man, you got anything going on this week that you want to mention before we go?
Nope. I don't got anything going on.
Well,
Nothing.
we got
No, not
the
really.
Toy Talk tomorrow. You know,
Oh yeah, we got Toy Talk tomorrow, so we'll be talking
Toy
about Queen
Queen
Studios
Studios.
announcement.
Yeah, yeah, they finally announced their pricings and whatnot for their Heath Ledger Joker, and they've got 3 different versions of this to come out. Hey, there's a comment. Let me see what that says here. Noble Young, man. Yes, thank you, sir. So, yeah, Queen Studios. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. We're going to be talking, of course, about Ahsoka and her release because I can't wait to get her. I think she turned out great.
Oh, if anybody needs to know this, the Bat Pod is now in stock at Sideshow.
Ooh, yeah. Well, we'll go over that tomorrow as well. Then, thank you for bringing that up. We'll
Okay.
mention that tomorrow. Of course, we're going to talk about Jazz Inc. some more because they've thrown back the gauntlet again. They playing hot potato with this gauntlet between them and Hot Toys. So we'll talk about that, of course. So that's what we got going on tomorrow. Then Tuesday, of course, we get toy photography talk. We may have Trevor back. He keeps coming back in, which is great. 1/6 shooter. He's a great guy to have in your corner there and talk about stuff. I'm still working on the membership perks as far as hosting the wallpapers. One suggestion was maybe I do like a mailing list where I just email them out once a month, like a set of wallpapers for your phone and or desktop, and just email them out once a month. This way, I don't have to, I'll figure. I'm still working on the finite details, guys. When I can read again, I'll actually start reading out to this. But trying to sit in front of this monitor, just trying to sit in front of this monitor all day is just it's infuriating. So we'll do that. But Tuesday, like I said, toy photography talk. That's at 6 o'clock Tuesday. I hope to see you guys there. That's I think one of my favorite shows is the toy photography talk. Though I really am having fun with that.
It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So with that, guys, we're gonna get out of
I
here.
like jumping
Go ahead.
in and I was like, I like jumping in every now and then and seeing you guys with the photography. I mean, I know nothing about the stuff like how hard you guys go with in depth, so I like to just bounce in and see stuff. And if I can't catch it live, I'll usually watch it after
Well,
because I find it interesting. I like how people can pull off some of these crazy ass photos. I mean, you included. Like, it's impressive to me.
well, wait, what is going on here? So this is gonna be that's gonna be the first wallpaper I think that we're gonna give away once I get everything set up. So that's gonna be a wallpaper for people that sign up for the membership. For the tier 2 membership, it's gonna be free wallpapers. Um, and what we'll do for the phone, we'll crop it down so you're just looking at like probably like this much here. follow the mouse, of course, something like that. But desktop, of course, is already cropped down for the desktop. It works out really well. But yeah, that's the first one. We're going to keep going with it. And of course, Harry, Cinematoygrapher, he's going to have artwork to contribute as well. So you'll get some of his pictures for this, membership perk. So it's going to be pretty cool, I think. I think it's going to be awesome as soon as I can figure out the logistics of doing it. So I can't wait. But with that, guys, we're going to get out of here. We're going to let you guys have the rest of your day and enjoy it. And we'll see you all tomorrow, hopefully, for Toy Talk. And with that, have a good night, guys.
Later, everyone.
That's the wrong thing. Let's try the right one.